Well, well, well. Ain't this just lovely? I hope I can be heard. But I doubt it. I don't know. They have just stolen my daughter. So, give it a couple minutes. See if anybody shows up. Can you hear me, suspect? I hope so. One, if you can hear me. Well, that'll tell me right there. The paperwork's even funny. Still all alleged and hearsay, but figure that one out. Thanks. So, no, it's not. They just the government just stole my daughter to help slow down any chances of a 1983 lawsuit. Yeah, take care of your family. Faith first, family second. Everything else after that. Hmm. Out to the local news on your side. Left a message. Okay, hopefully now I'm back again. Oh man, I'm sitting here outside. What the dickens? Got my little couple minutes short earlier. Those that may have. Well, I'm still here, but I don't know if anybody can hear me because this thing keeps losing connection. I'm still here, but as usual, Verizon hates me. or they just want to keep stuff like. I hope I'm back now. Uh, yeah, they serve themselves, government agencies, but and welcome to all my new subscribers over this nonsense. That's not how I wanted to grow my channel, but I'm glad you're here. But boy, this is kind of interesting that, not kind of, very interesting that, okay, I'm going to break it down a little bit. Yeah, because it was kind of hard to understand me when I was screaming at the cops on the 10th. Okay. Oh, now that I'm calmer, as calm as I can be, for having my daughter kidnapped by the county government. Yeah, and around November time frame, there was a couple of officers that were going around basically harassing anybody and everybody they considered homeless or poor and camping in the vehicles or whatever. Okay, neither here nor there regarding the legality of their approach. Although I did have to walk out into the middle of the street on a cold night in the dark, and with it raining, with a cane. I should say hobbled out in the middle of the road. Because instead of being close to the curb where I could stay on the sidewalk, they made me come out in the middle of the street. And we're like, oh, you already set up your camp, so we're not going to ask you to leave now. But you don't really, but you shouldn't be here, blah, blah, whatever. Neither here nor there. But the officer in the passenger seat, Officer Golden, badge 8900, at the end of the interaction, and I was totally polite and nice. There was no, yelling and screaming 3802 or none of that. Because there was nothing to even say about that. Turned around and I asked, at the end of the conversation, I asked her name and badge numbers. Officer Golden was one of those tyrants that asking for his name and badge number, and he specifically said he considered it a personal assault. As in, if he was standing, well, first he was kind of trying to hide in the seat and not attempt to not be noticed. And when I called him out, he did not like that because he was being quiet, attempting, whatever. But he had raised his voice and very much was considered a personal assault. Yeah. Okay, so that's the kind of attitude that we all know gets people shot from bad tyrant cops. I reported it to the Office of Professional Standards or Professional Accountability, whatever they want to call it here in Austin. And it got forwarded to Internal Affairs. And they began investigating and whatnot. Now, during that time, before it officially got turned over to Internal Affairs, well, it had been sent to Internal Affairs, but before they had taken action to research the situation, to go pull the dash cam from the patrol unit. They, my wife was coming home. It was laundry day. She went and got laundry soap and things from from there by Family Dollar. And in so doing, the cheap bag ripped. She yelled help over top of the noisy generator, trying to get assistance. My daughter, who was closest, did not hear her. I did not hear her until she banged on the door. Apparently, someone had called thinking someone was in distress because my wife yelled help over trying to get us to come out and assist her with a ripped shopping bag. Next thing you know, on December 20, that same, December 27th, and Officer Giglio responded and told her there was no there. She pulled all sorts of stuff to try to get my ID, all that fun stuff. Didn't like that I quoted 3802 on her butt. But at first, I was like, yeah, they may be yelling and screaming, whatever, but it was no big deal. Then towards the end, I went and flagged her down to say, because I mean, Officer Giglio came in so hot and heavy, banged on the outside of our RV, demanding come outside, and I've got the body cam to prove it. Well, at least some of the audio recording, because my body cam wasn't pointing the right direction because of I'm obese. And it's a cheap little body cam, can't exactly point it where you want to always. But that she came in all hot and heavy. So give me a minute. I held it back out. Give me a minute as I was grabbing my body cam and getting ready to step out. And come out now. Okay. And she told her it was over a ripped shopping bag. And of course, there was a male officer and some other plainclothes person with the male officer that responded in the secondary unit. And considered our Kentucky license plates, because our RV is registered out of the state of Kentucky, as suspicious or fake. Okay, good one. And I even was very accommodating with that Officer Lewis when he went to try to view the VIN number that had been blocked by the cat knocking something down into the dash. I reached in, removed it so he could run the VIN to see that the RV is not stolen. More accommodating, and as some of those bootlickers want to say, more compliant than I should be. What do? They make a CPS report. Now, during that time, my wife was barefoot. My wife, from her service in the Army, has some bad feet and bad teeth, but not my daughter. But Officer Giglio put in her report that my daughter had bad teeth and supposedly a foot fungus. Okay. Ultimately, okay, now I'm back again. Ultimately, we refused everything. They gave us our court-appointed attorneys for family court. And that's how my daughter got her attorney in the first place. And this was back in January. Well, at the beginning of February, they ended up dismissing without prejudice. but 8 days. Encourage us to volunteer for their service. Everything is hearsay. Violent, and even when this new action went to a contested hearing, they had no facts. The associate judge was taking an advisement and contemplating a dismissal because of no facts. But still, court ordered us in violation of the Texas law that states that, parents must be the only way the judge can make an order for a child to go into medical care is one, Title III removal. Well, what did they just do? Or parents are unavailable and there is no notice to the contrary. That's what this Texas statute says. They just basically took my daughter to help cover up the fact that that the associate judge violated the Texas statute. And this temporary removal thing is not a Title III removal, so that still doesn't technically grant them the authority they think it grants them. But yeah. And of course, I'm just an alleged father. I'm not the father, even though there's a birth certificate and marriage certificate. I'm married to my wife, and we were married before our daughter was born, and a birth certificate with my name on the birth certificate. But according to them, I'm just the alleged father. I have no rights. I'm a nothing. I thought that was California and New York that parents. But somehow, yeah, ex parte and show cause orders, which they say they found, let's see, I'm looking at it here in front of me. In the form of an affidavit, hearsay. The court finds that it has jurisdiction of this cause, blah, blah, blah. The court further finds that all reasonable efforts consistent with time and circumstances have been made by the department to prevent or eliminate the need for removal of the child from the home and to make it possible for the child to return home, but continuation in the home would be contrary to the child's welfare. But check out the time. Oh, and by the way, when they refiled this force into services, they also filed a temporary restraining order restricting us not to leave Travis County, Texas. Okay. We haven't had a hearing on that temporary restraining order. Do they care? No. Are they following any part of due process? Heck no. And as most of my new subscribers probably follow a lot of this kind of stuff around the interwebs. Yeah. Further finds that there's an immediate danger to the physical health or safety of the child, or the child has been a victim of neglect or SA. Okay, where? I don't know where they, unless they're talking about the SA by the cop, basically. Continuation of the child in the home would be contrary to the child's welfare. The child would not be adequately protected in the child's home with an order for the removal of the alleged perpetrator or a protective order issued. What? Yeah, okay. Who's the alleged perpetrator? What? Hello, News Now. Lisa, I hope things are going well in your direction. And placing the child with a relative designated caregiver, with the caregiver under a parental child safety placement agreement authorized by blah, 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 the Texas Family Code, was offered but refused. And reasonable efforts consistent with the circumstances and providing for the safety of the child were made to prevent or eliminate the need for removal of the child. No, they just didn't like it that we stood our ground on Texas laws and statutes, and they're covering their mess up. Now, here's the fun part. Let me go a couple of pages here because this is the good part, where they attempt to exonerate themselves. CJ is unable to help me because he's still focused on the state legislation. I try to reach out to his Facebook page and he has an automatic responder on that. So, and I filled the form with Kaplan today, which is, I guess, another somewhat well-known one. Got nowhere, and I left a voicemail with the Channel 7 News on your side person. Just for those that have made those comments or suggestions. But as I say, nobody listens to me. The corruption is deep and long and with the VA and everything else. But this is not VA, this is different. Family courts, Texas, and for those that say, well, you got to realize Travis County and Austin, the city of Austin, are very, very blue, not red. But here's the fun part. It is further ordered that the department ensure the child receive a medical checkup within 3 business days of the date of this order. This is today's order. In accordance with section 262.116 of the Texas Family Code, the court finds that the department did not take possession of the child based on evidence that the parent homeschooled the child, is economically disadvantaged, has been charged with a nonviolent misdemeanor other than an offense under Title V, an offense under Title blank of the Penal Code, or an offense that involves family violence, provided or administered low THC cannabis to a child, declined immunization for the child for reasons of conscience, including a religious belief, sought an opinion from more than one medical provider, allowed the child to engage in independent activities that are appropriate and typical, or to, parents tested positive for marijuana, which we haven't been drug tested because they had no facts to even do that. Well, News Now, the only channel that I know so far that has picked it up was Here's the Deal. And he's done so many things, and the unfortunate story in Pocatello, Idaho has has got the algorithms going that way. And yeah. So okay, hopefully I'm back now. Here's the next section. It says it is and this is kind of fun. It is ordered that each parent, alleged father, or relative of the child submit the child placement resources form. Okay, do a certain form for a possible placement with family or whatever, or if they're Native American. Here's the problem. They left only one form, and that was with my wife's name on it, not mine. And this whole time they've been saying I'm the alleged father. So they've started from the jump, doing everything to make sure I have 0 rights. And then, of course, make sure, because obviously this has all been complete and utter retaliation. Because I just told you what it says the reasons were for removal. but there's been no documentation, no facts proven, no provable facts, no pending police charges. I'm not currently in shiny bracelets sitting in jail because I harmed my child or have alleged to harm my child, or that my wife has harmed our child or allegedly harmed our child, or the dog did it. Okay? I mean, seriously. Zero facts. But yet, the court finds good cause. Well, at that point, you have to have probable cause if it's because, and that's another thing that I've looked and under the Texas family statutes. Good cause is basically because the police have charged for those really serious. Good cause is needed for those really serious allegations, such as conviction for those really serious crimes that we all know and no need to repeat. Probable cause, a higher standard is needed without it. There's been no finding of probable cause other than probable cause that we fought the department in the first place. And then that the one that the probable cause was found on, because we refused to allow CPS to interview our child, that gave, apparently there was some sort of probable cause there. That case was dismissed without prejudice. So, any questions? But to summarize, they picked up my daughter basically to prevent them, but and as I mentioned, well, it was a general admonishment that nobody should be recording the proceedings with the judge today. So I turned off my recording at the end of her admonishment, so that way at least that was on the record. Because they want to manipulate the records. But I did, during that proceeding, bring up the fact that there's been no show cause. There's been no hearing on the temporary restraining order. And it's been over a month since it was signed by that same judge. That basically the judge and the agency are opening themselves up to 1983 lawsuits, as this is retaliation for what happened on April 10th. I did at least make note of it in the court. That there's a potential for that. I said it on the record. No, I did not yell or scream in court. I said it nice and as calmly as I am now. Well, a little bit calmer because I wasn't distraught but then the judge and today, because, okay, during the 3-part videos, you hear me mention about a court date on Monday. That court date on Monday got moved to this upcoming Friday. But they turned around and decided today on Wednesday to remove my daughter. To basically help slow down and or prevent any 1983 lawsuit and claims. It's the only thing I can think of. So my suspicions, heck, I'm 49 years old. It doesn't take, if you see something that looks like a horse and it's got black and white vertical stripes, I think it's a zebra. I don't have to go up and test its DNA to know it's a zebra. If it's big and gray and with a very long trunk and a very short tail, probability is it's an elephant. So, who's gaslighting who? And that's the thing is anything, they've gone back and forth literally every other court date with dealing with the government or county agencies and family court has been associate judge, real judge, associate judge, real judge. The associate judge just became an associate judge in June of last year. The so-called real judge has only been a real judge on the bench for a couple of years. I mean, technically, an associate judge is a real judge too, but I mean, seriously, it's family court. They don't even know the definitions of probable cause and good cause. They don't know how to read legal words that tells them that basically what they are doing, what they are physically doing, is not what they say. What they say the law gives them the right to do, it does not, unless certain requirements are met, and they are not meeting those minimum requirements for that to happen. Well, it's a little bit of a windy day, so pardon me for any and all wind noise. There's a hat that's trying to take off from me. And that scratchy noise is my dog dragging her leash. So we had to make sure that she was on leash and didn't get shot or some crazy thing. You know, government actors are. Now, there's not many people here. Probably just kind of listening to me prattle on in the background. So, if they did have, I don't have any more. All right. Hello, hoes. This is not your standard, not my kicking it type of live stream. So, if you watch my other videos, you have an idea of what's going on, but overall, doggone it. If they fix that Rumble connection. Cool. This is also being simul-streamed to Rumble, but literally nobody's there. I don't think anybody's watching on Rumble. All right, be surprised. No, just the YouTubes here. So I've just gone through what's going Okay, I'm back again. It's a lot like a lot of my presets on Restream have disappeared. Oh well, expected. But I'm sure there are some other people that are happy to see my daughter taken. Because, well, I talk too much. I irritate them or whatever. I'm a Christian, but yeah, take his kid, take his kid, take his kid. Same people. Oh, why would you deny a kid a cat? Well, why would I deny a kid a cookie? Oh, wait. We had a previous incident when she was like 2, 3 years old that we denied her a cookie. She screamed. CPS was involved and up our butts. Literally, people can't win for losing. But at least in that case, for the most part, the court they didn't play these stupid games like they played here. There were games played. Oh, get me! There were games played. But this is why I needed Starlink because trust me, I got gigs and gigs and gigs of video backing up the stuff, a lot of the stuff I'm talking about. I'm not just talking. I've got recordings, videos. May not be the greatest, but I got them. I got a lot of it. So, darn wind. Like I said, I know there's people that are happy. Finally get this scooter to help my daughter, help my daughter exercise. In fact, we did almost 2 miles last night, 2 mile walk last night. So got at least because of the timing, I was able to give her a hug. But she's loved. But let's see what happens. See what happens. But anyone have any questions, or have I answered everything? My best to answer what I can. So a lot of people like to watch on the TV and have it in the background, and apparently the stuff that my AI created stuff disappeared. Let's see. Throw a little something in. Yeah. Oh, that's too quiet, too loud. Okay, I think that's playing in the background there. So we'll give a few in case anybody else wants to drop in. Okay, I guess the music thing was the wrong thing to do. All right. Sorry, people. Uh, can't fight the system without an attorney or a lot of money, or both. As one comment was, believe over on Here's the Deals channel was running roughshod. A little typoed, but yeah, I'm country enough to know what it meant. Getting run roughshod right over. So what do you do? What do you do in these situations? Hmm? I mean, heck, I get a whole heck of a lot of people that show up just to, yeah, News Now Lisa and Suspect and Ladner there. Hose Booker. Yeah, that's for everyone that has dropped by to at least listen. But you can almost bet some government officials, because of that admonishment, is watching me closely. Make sure I didn't record the court session. No, but I can make commentary on it. Or is the judge going to violate my First Amendment right? Freedom of press and freedom to redress grievances and freedom of speech. Because they hinted at, oh, we're not violating freedom of religion in the document, but that's it. Yeah, okay. They done did it. I can pray. I've been praying, but it takes more than one. I mean, yeah, God answers the prayer of the individual. So sometimes it takes an army of prayer warriors, especially when the system is this mucked up. This is me calm. Yes, those videos showed me angry. Pardon me if I didn't have a pew pew and pull it or do something that really would have made people happy. Stupid trolls. Stupid trolls. Anyone else here want to say hello? Go right ahead. The stream is going to both Rumble and YouTube. Links in the description. Or used to be. I don't know anymore. Like someone's been going through and messing with my stuff. Whatever. Give it about 15 more minutes. If people start asking questions or anything else. Pretty much covered the majority of everything that hasn't already been covered in other other live streams or videos. Now, sometimes with YouTube, it takes a while for to get out there that somebody went live. Is what it ain't. Some people, it's a chance to comment, and it even shows up on the screen. If you're on Rumble or YouTube, everybody will be able to see it. You can even see it on the replay. Any questions, concerns, comments? Now it's time for trolls to call me whatever name they want to call me. Basement dwelling warriors, come on, where are you? Or is it just because the videos are starting to get popular? Start to bring attention. So want to know any links to contact me or more directly or anything else? It's right all there in the about information on the channel. How can you hold people accountable when nobody wants to stand up until it happens to them? Hmm? So this isn't just about backing the blue and just about the blue line gang, although I have a feeling it's, well, I have a feeling, I have a lot of it has to do with them. And it's other agencies and the court backing them up any way they can. So if I do disappear, we'll see. We'll see what the charges might be. What nonsense they come up with. How's she doing? Not great. I mean, she's not in the wheelchair or anything like that. But this is completely unneeded stress. That's part of the reason I took, backed away from YouTube for a bit, was because the stress, the nonsense, the drama. Don't need that. We just need to be allowed to be our family, be happy, know. Love one another. But whatever. They're probably taking the fact that I was mad at the cop for what he did. They must be trying to use that to say that supposedly I'm abusive to my daughter. You can almost guarantee that's what they're trying to pull. I don't know. I don't know what affidavit that ex parte affidavit they filed. I mean, heck, even the attorneys couldn't see what the affidavit said in time for court. It was filed at like 12:02, and court was at 1 p.m. I mean, that's how fast they did the months. But then they took another 4 hours before showing up. That's interesting. And they didn't even show up with police. Hello, Sly Shy. Glad to see you made it. Basically, I was just going over everything from basically from the jump in November, December, all the way to current. That's the only thing I can think of that they would even come close to having an affidavit that says that I'm supposed. Well, that and the fact that I refuse to engage in interstate medical commerce. Our registration for our RV is out of Kentucky. Yes, we have a mailing address in Texas, but my wife still has her New York ID. I have an Ohio driver's license. We are technically not even Texas citizens. It wouldn't be that much to become so, but other than a bunch of money for the government to change licenses over and register to vote and all that fun stuff, but wouldn't take much. But we can't do that from Travis County, where we've been restricted to since what, February. Yeah, how'd that go? February? Let's see. Yeah, February. They put a TRO on us in February. I think about it. It's been 2 months. And they violated so many of the existing Texas statutes and laws that they're supposed to do that it's not funny. It is seriously not funny. And plus, judicial bias, improper process. They haven't even followed the right due process. And they're trying to cover it up because they like to have their little games and they like to have their, well, not so much cake unless it's probably ding dongs and ho hos. But so they like to have their steak and seafood dinners and their $500,000 HOA homes. And if you don't, if you, I mean, if you listen to me read off the reasons that the non reasons for removal, because I have been mentioning a lot of that stuff. If you looked at all the non reasons for removal, yeah, obviously there's a bit of a bias. And you can go back and replay that section where I read it off. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Wasn't for the fact they stole my child. It's laughable. Because we were already trying to work a little bit in the background regarding the port messing up on its own. Now with the right attorney, it's not. This is straight up. I believe civil rights lawyer calls it Monell claim, conspiracy, use with multiple agencies. I mean, heck, you're not even supposed to use. So you can't reopen a case 60 days after it's for the same exact on the exact on the exact same call and reason after 60 days. They technically didn't even reopen. Well, actually, basically, they technically just did. I think. I'm not sure, but they dismissed without prejudice. Then, with 8 days, instead of filing something new, they were going to try and investigate or a new charge of neglect of something else that somehow was being somehow some other way of being neglectful. They jumped straight to services. And it's laughable. Voluntary services. We're going to take you to court to force you into voluntary services. And if you don't comply, we're going to take your kid. Basically what they did. We didn't volunteer for their services. We wanted to leave the county and go about our business. So, oh no, we can't have that. You won't take your daughter to the dentist and to a pediatrician for a checkup. It's a standard checkup, just a standard stinking checkup. What happened to federal laws regarding we have the right to refuse any and all unnecessary medical care? That's federal. That's not even state. But they think a checkup is so necessary that is basically the neglect they are pulling and used to it's the only thing because they violated their own statutes. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Well, I'm closing in on an hour. If anybody wants to ask any questions, have a specific question you want to ask, go right ahead. Specific nickname you want to call me, go right ahead. Whatever. What are you going to do to me now? You done took my kid. You going to take my life? Right. Yes, and if she was so in danger that night, why did it take, let's see, basically almost a whole week before filing anything if it was such an urgent emergency matter? And if things were so urgent and emergent, yes, they took our daughter about an hour ago now, 4 hours after the court ordered it. A family law judge took our daughter, who is white. We're white. And the law judge, or not law judge, the judge, family court judge. The only thing you can find about her on YouTube is how when she went for her first time to be elected as a family court judge, wanted to work on how many black kids were in the foster care system. That, and don't forget that Texas still has a whole bunch of kids that are missing in their foster care system. So they're about to lose my daughter. I almost guarantee they're about to lose my daughter in the system. I love you a little big to lose, but still. But what case? They don't have a case. The case was contemplated until the cops showed up on the 10th. It was under contemplation for dismissal because they had no facts, no findings. But anyways. All right. Well, I wish everyone well. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream.